Hello, I'm Jeff Sankoff, the TriDoc, and welcome to my video cast from the Ironman 70.3 World Championships here in Nice, France, September 7th and 8th, 2019. The women's race is tomorrow, and the women are dropping off their gear as we speak. The men's race will be on Sunday, and that's when I'll be participating. But for now, I'm glad you've joined me. I'm going to give you a little bit of an inside look at the expo, some of the vendors we'll talk to momentarily. I'll show you around a little bit of the race course in terms of T1 and T2, where the swim's going to take place, give you some thoughts on the location of Nice as a site for the World Championships, and hopefully give you just a little bit of a flavor of what has thus far proven to be a really excellent event, and what I'm hoping is going to turn out to be a really awesome race as well. So within the expo, of course, there's a lot of merchandise to be had, and much of it can be found within the Ironman branded tent itself. One of the nice things about the Nice race is the color scheme they chose. It has lent to some actually very attractive clothing and swimwear options, and I'm not shy to say that I've dropped a fair amount of euros in this particular tent this weekend. Super excited to have met Maddie Pesh walking through the expo as I just got here myself. Maddie, how are you feeling for tomorrow?
Very excited. It's going to be a big adventure.
Yeah. Who's your pick to finish behind you?
Behind me?
Yeah.
Everyone.
You're going to be on the podium, so who's going to be behind you? Everyone else?
Yep.
That's awesome. What are your thoughts about the bike course?
As you are aware, I am very excited about it. I just love all the different elements, and so I think it's going to keep you on your toes, and it'll be something different every turn.
Yes, that is for sure. I rode it yesterday. I know you did as well. I'm not thrilled about the descending, but you said that you thought it was going to be fine and it will play to your strengths. So do you think this is going to be a biker's course or a runner's course in the end? Because it is going to be a fast run.
Hopefully it'll even everyone out and let the best person win.
All right.
Best overall. So.
All right. Awesome. Well, best of luck tomorrow. I'm super excited to see you race, and we'll be out there cheering for you.
Thanks.
All right.
You too.
Thanks. So another one of the famous friends of the podcast can be found, as per usual, recovering before she's done anything. Lucy Brash at the Normatec tent, fully ensconced in her Normatec boots. Something a little bit different for this race is that the supplier for the on-course nutrition is Enervit. Now, most races in North America are under contract with Base Nutrition, and Base does not have a European presence. So Italian company Enervit is going to be providing both gels as well as these performance bars and liquid nutrition. Now, for North American athletes who are coming over here, we haven't tried this stuff, and as you know, on a race day is never the first time to try anything. So I have gotten myself a sample of the drink. It's very light on taste. It's quite palatable, and will definitely be something that I won't have a problem taking on the run. It doesn't taste very sweet, so I think the sugar content is low enough that I'm not going to be too worried about it giving me any issues. Let's try the gel. The gels they're going to be providing is a raspberry gel with caffeine, as well as an orange gel that doesn't have any. So the good news is that it's pretty liquidy. It goes down really quickly. It's not like the goo gels or some of the other gels that have sort of a thick, difficult to take taste. This goes in real fast. It is sweet, and that is because it's got, let's see how many calories are in this. In 100 mils, you're looking at 322 kilocalories, which is a fair amount when you consider most gels only carry about 100 kilocalories, so this is a fair amount of energy in one gel. That's probably why it tastes as sweet as it does. But I think that all in all, this is going to be reasonably well accepted, although probably most North American athletes are likely going to be carrying their own nutrition because they don't want to try something new. All right, I'm with Chris in the Icebind tent here in the expo, and he's going to tell me a little bit about their product, which is different from the compression wear that I've discussed on the podcast before. This is cryotherapy. Some of you in North America are probably familiar with the Game Ready device or Phil Gaiman's new ice pants that he's developed, but this is something new. Is it available in North America yet?
Well, we're getting ready for deliveries in 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could say basically, yeah.
All right, so it's going to be coming soon. And tell us a little bit about what the product does and how it distinguishes itself from the other things that are out there on the market.
Right, okay. There's several products regarding recovery on the market. Basically, many of them focus on compression nowadays. We're looking at a cooling effect here. So our main philosophy is that the cooling will not only help your muscles, the tissues, the joints and tendons, but it will also cool down your overall system. So the parasympathicus is actually receiving a positive impact and your overall well-being is improved. And when that is done, you also have a nice impact on your sleep quality. We recover best during deep sleep. So if we have an impact there, we can expect a better recovery.
And is your feeling that this should be used primarily after exercise, or is this something that can be used even on off days, as you said, something for well-being?
Well, off days, well-being, 100%. We have people like cooks or firemen or other sales shopkeepers, for example. They love using it. Well-being, absolutely. Before, after the sport, most of the studies have been done for after and then the recovery phase. We have little experience for directly before an event. We do see bikers, for example, they wear a cooling vest before a race to bring down the core temperature. We have no experience yet with the pants, so for the time being we'll focus for after, which is actually before the next training.
Right, of course. And how long are they worn for?
Worn? Okay. 20 minutes. We
20 minutes
recommend 20 minutes.
Okay.
So you come home after your practice. While you're taking your shower, you press the button while you're having the shower. 10 minutes later, the system will have cooled down the gallon of water to 5 degrees. That's around 45 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
And then once you're done with the shower, you step into the pants. And then basically it's up to you how you feel about it. We recommend 20 minutes. Once a day can be used, and you will feel the immediate effect.
All right. Okay. And how much are they retailing for?
Yeah, we're going to hit a point of $1,100 US out of the US stock point, and then there might we'll be adding a little bit of freight cost on that.
All right. And is there compression as well, or is it purely just circulation of the cold water?
Well, we have active versus passive compression. Active compression is when it really pumps in air and then it releases, it pumps, it releases. We have a passive kind of compression where we're just tight.
Okay, yeah.
The better the pants are fitting, the tighter it is.
Yeah.
So we have a passive compression.
Okay.
That makes the product not a medical device in that sense, and that's why we can retail much cheaper than those medical devices.
All right.
And making it available for a broad public.
Okay. And cryotherapy is something that I'll be looking at on the podcast soon, and we'll definitely discuss this very interesting and novel product. Thanks. So I spent about 20 minutes in the Icebind cold pants, and I have to say it was pretty interesting. There's no compression to them, but yet you still feel as if you got some benefit in terms of like an anti-swelling sort of thing just from the cold, which makes sense. If you put ice on a swollen joint or a swollen injury, you do get some reduction in swelling, and it was the same thing with these cold pants. So it was a really interesting sort of sensation. The other thing I'll say is that there were a couple things I noticed on the device. The refrigeration unit itself is quite large. It weighs about 15 kilos, he tells me, and it's the size of a small, almost club fridge. So you'd have to find a place to locate it and be sure that it was somewhere that you don't mind keeping it. The other thing is the tubes where the cold water is running through formed some condensation, and there was water pooling underneath them. The manufacturer representatives told me that this is something that they see more often in an environment like this, where they're using the devices for a long time and leaving them out in a human environment. If it's being used in the home or in a physiotherapist's office, they say for short periods of time they don't tend to see that amount of condensation. Whether or not that's true, I obviously don't know. But all in all, I found the device quite interesting. Again, I'm going to look at the literature to see if there's support for using them. But as an alternative to compressive devices, it might be worth a look-see once they become available. So this footage here shows the swim course. The swim is going on right now. The women are in the water, and we're looking at the start. The swim goes out about 800 meters, turns to the right, swims about 400 meters, and then another right turn to come back 700 meters to the shore. As you can see, the water's fairly calm, but if you turn to your head to the right, the sun's going to be in your eyes on the way back. Otherwise, sighting, fairly straightforward, not a big deal. The buoys were sometimes hard to see, but not too bad. So I'm standing on the beach in front of T1, and I got to tell you, of the entire event, getting your bike into T1 has been the only thing of the weekend so far that's been difficult. T1 is very, very large. There are something like, I want to say, well, more than 2,000 men that are racing tomorrow. And we had 4 hours to get our bikes into T1, but the process was quite lengthy. It took, I want to say, no more than 10 minutes to do bag drop for T2, but it was quite an affair getting everything into T1. T1 runs behind me pretty much the length of this wall, past those umbrellas behind me. I mean, it really goes a long way. The bike racks there are something like 80 bike racks, and beyond that is where the gear bags are. So getting in there was a very lengthy process. They are photographing all the bikes, which is pretty common for World Championship races, and they are checking all the equipment, making sure the number belts are attached. As I mentioned, the French Federation has some pretty interesting rules. You have to have your number attached in 3 places on the number belt, and that's not something most North Americans are used to. At any rate, they were checking those things, and just the whole process was just really lengthy. When I left, they still had hundreds, probably at least another 700 or 800 guys in line waiting to get in. So it's going to be a very lengthy process. Still, everything else so far, I mean, I was watching the women get their stuff checked out after their race today, and it went very, very well and very quickly. I have spoken to Maddie Pesch after her race. She was quite pleased. She said that the course was very difficult and definitely World Championship caliber. She was fairly satisfied with how the day went, although she said she did struggle on the run. She wished she had gone a little bit harder on the bike. Because so much of the difficult part of the bike is early, and you do have a fair amount of time to recover on the descent. So I'm going to take that into consideration for tomorrow. Many women that I know and who have been on the podcast participated today. Lucy Brash, Kelly Poix, Michelle Hildebrand, Ellen Hart, all raced and all did exceptionally well, and looked great out there. It was a beautiful day, not too hot, sun the whole time. Tomorrow the forecast does seem to be a little bit cooler, but there is a chance of rain, and if there's rain, I'm a little worried about that descent. So we'll see how it goes, but for now it's beautiful, and going to continue to enjoy what Nice has to offer leading up to the men's race tomorrow. But again, T1, very large, very challenging to get everything done, but it's a World Championship, it's a major event, and they have done things as best they could. Security is constant presence. It is Nice after all. There were some tragic events that happened here a couple of years ago, and they do not want to see a repeat of that, and so there's constant wanding of your person as you go in and out of wherever you're going to be close to the race. Your bags are searched continuously, but honestly it's a minor inconvenience in order to keep everybody safe. So all in all, not a big deal. Those of you who've listened to the podcast have heard Bill join me before. We discussed, what race did we discuss together? Chattanooga. So Bill's here also at Worlds, and he's going to be racing with me on Sunday. His partner Michelle is dropping off her run bag, and she's going to be coming on camera in a second. She doesn't know, but she's about to find out, because here she is.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about Worlds at Nice.
Nice.
Michelle Hildebrand, who hopefully will be convinced to join me on the podcast sometime soon. She just dropped off her bag.
If you're lucky, Jeff.
The way the race venue is set up here in Nice, there's 2 different transitions. The second transition is located right behind me here. So when cyclists finish the bike ride, they're going to end up here, which is close to the exposition. They'll drop off their bikes and then head out on the run. So on this day of the 70.3 World Championships, the women race is going on right now, and I am with a very special person who is having a very special day herself. This is my daughter, Samantha. And why is today special, Samantha?
Today's my birthday.
She is 14 years old, and she has joined me for the trip to France, and she's having a really good time. What do you think about the whole experience?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that I'm here.
Yeah. You inspired by all these incredible women who are putting it all out there today?
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. She's not a triathlete herself, but she does a lot of pretty amazing things in her day-to-day life, and I'm inspired by her every day. So the bike course was really the highlight of the World Championships in Nice, both because of its beauty and because of its difficulty. I've done 5 of these races now, and the bike course at Nice was by far the most difficult and most challenging of all of the bike courses that I've done. It had a significant climb in the form of the Col de Vence and a very significant descent, which was really my one bone to pick with the race organizers. You could see on the map here that at about 25 kilometers, we began a very steep ascent of the Col de Vence, which is a fairly famous climb. It's used in the Ironman Nice as well, and it's about 10 kilometers at an average of 6%. Each kilometer is marked by these nice blue signs telling you how far you still have to go in terms of meters to climb, as well as what percent the next grade would be. The descent itself was very technical, very difficult, and had spectacular views. My one criticism, and really only criticism of the whole race, was that this course really favored those with very, very good technical descending skills, and really not so much those who were the stronger cyclists. So if you were an excellent descender, someone who was very brave in the corners, you tended to do well and make up time on the people who had perhaps the better climbing skills. Now the run course, on the other hand, was not technical at all. In fact, the run course was incredibly flat and incredibly fast, an ideal course for a PR, and in fact many of my friends, and myself included, came either very close or actually set PRs on this day. 5.5 to 6 kilometers from the bike transition out to the airport, turn around, come back to the start, and then do it all over again. Very fast, no hills whatsoever, 8 stations well stocked, never really got too congested or crowded. Tremendous atmosphere, great crowd support, and like I said, a very fast course. So this is my 6th 70.3 World Championship, and all of them have been special. All of the destinations have been great, but there's definitely something special about being in Nice. Not the least of which, the old world charm. The race in Austria was fantastic. It was in a mountain village and really special. But being in a city in France really is a unique experience, especially nestled as it is right on the Mediterranean Sea. So this whole experience is turning into something that is really becoming a bar that the 70.3 Worlds are going to have to live up to in the future. Now next year in Taupo, there's no question that's going to be a spectacular location for the race. But right here, in terms of city venues, Nice is really setting the standard, and it's going to be a pretty tough act to follow.